Hello everyone. Today we're going to talk about adding and subtracting rational numbers, not national numbers, but rational numbers. So let's take a look here at let's imagine that we have a football field. And we have the 50-yard line here. And so we have lines 40, 30, 20, 10, and 40, 30, 20, 10. Alright, and let's say that this team was over here at the 40-yard line, and they're trying to go this direction with the ball, but they just had a 15-yard penalty. Okay, so 40 minus 15 is 25, so they have to go back over here to the 25-yard line. Then they can start going forward. Well, then they have a 55-yard play. Whoa, that's huge. So let's go here 25 and we go to 50. And how much is the distance between 25 and 50? So 50 minus 25 is 25. So we still need to go another how many yards? We have a total of 55-yard play. So minus 25 is 30 more yards. So what's 50 minus 30? 20. So they get all the way over here to the 20-yard line. That's a huge play. So they're getting close to getting a touchdown here or a field goal. So congrats to that team. All right. So just like football fields, we deal with numbers, and we can draw number lines. And what we want to do is look at solving this here. Whoa. Here we go. So this is example 1A. So we'll do minus 1 plus minus 3. Interesting. So let's draw this on the number line. Alright, we have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, minus 1, minus 2, minus 3, minus 4. Alright, so we're going to start here at 0. And our first number here is minus 1. So what we're going to do is going to go to minus 1. Okay. And then our second step is to add another minus 3 to it. Well, if we go minus 3 more, we're going to go from minus 1 to minus 4, because that's 1, 2, 3 in the negative direction there. So then our answer then would be minus 4. Okay, let's look at another example. Let's say that we have 1.5 plus minus 3.5. Decimal places. How does this work? So let's take a look here. We're going to have a 0, and I'm going to mark every half. And okay, so what's our first number here? We have 1.5. So we start here at 0 and we go over here to 1.5. Okay, because it's a positive 1.5, right? And then we're going to add a negative 3.5. Well, if we add a negative 3.5, we have to go back to the left because it's negative. Alright, so we're going to start over here at 1.5, and we're going to go 3.5 to the left. So far that's 1.5. So we need to go how much more? 3.5 minus 1.5 is 2. So we need to go 2 more, all the way over here to 2. Okay? So then this answer is minus 2. Alright, let's talk about some rules here. If we add 2 positive numbers, the answer, or as you may call it, the sum, is positive. Okay? So if we're adding 2 positive numbers, then our answer has to be positive. Alright, let's look at another rule. If we add 2 negative numbers, and the M had too many humps, and it's not hump day. If we had 2 negative numbers, the answer, or the difference, is negative. Alright, so if we add 2 negative numbers, then we get a negative answer. So this is pretty easy. So if you add 2 positives, you get a positive answer. If you add 2 negatives, you get a negative answer. Let's talk about another rule. If we add a positive and negative number, the sign, what is the sign? The sign is whether it's positive or negative, is of the greater absolute, if I can spell, value. Alright, so in this case, it depends on something other than whatever you're dealing with. If it's positive and negative and you're adding them together, you have to look at the absolute value. Remember the absolute value, or these 2 vertical bars, right? So let's take a look at an example of this. Alright, example 2. If I can write a 2. It's a terrible 2. Alright, 1 plus 3 plus minus 7 over 6. Alright, so if we take a look at this, we can put this in absolute terms. So this is a positive, right? There's no negative sign there. So this is the same as like positive 1/3. Okay. Now, let's take a look. Which one is the larger value? Which is larger between 1/3 and 7/6? So if you said 7/6, that's correct. So what we're going to do is we're going to put the sign of the larger value, which is this minus value, here. So we're going to say minus, and then we're going to subtract this value. Okay? Now, if we do the absolute value, we will get 1/3 minus 7 over 6. And this is equal to, we need to get the same denominator. So 1/3 is equal to 2/6. And then 2 minus 7 is minus 5/6. Because we keep the same denominator, right? Alright, let's talk about another topic. We say we have a number line. And if we look here at this -1 and this 1, they are actually called opposites because they're the same number but different signs. Okay, and one thing about opposites is, let's write this down, opposites. And I'm getting happy with the pencil. Opposites. So like another example would be -2 and 2. Another example would be, we forgot the negative over here. -3 and 3. Those are opposites of each other. So what happens when you add these together? Well, these are called additive inverse. When you add them together, can't draw letters. Okay, an additive inverse happens when the sum is 0. Okay, so let's take these couple here we drew in blue. -1 plus 1, that's equal to 0. Let's take these, -2 and 2. And I apologize if you hear snoring, that's Grandma in the background. That's 2. And then this -3 plus 3, if I could draw a 3. That was a terrible looking 3. This is equal to 0. So these are additive inverses. Alright, so let's look what we can do with additive inverses. Let's look at this. 1 plus -3 is equal to -2. Right? Well, we can replace this with 1 minus 3 is equal to -2. So what we did is take this and replace it with this, and it's saying the same thing. Okay, that's an additive inverse. Alright, and I apologize if you hear the snoring from Grandma. Alright, so let's take a look at some problems here. Let's say the highest recorded temperature, and sorry if you hear baby 3, in Death Valley. This is out in Cali. Was 134 degrees Fahrenheit at some point in time. And the lowest recorded temperature in Alaska, and I apologize for the snoring, was minus 80 degrees Fahrenheit. This reminds me when I was trying to record my final project when I was working on my master's degree, and I was traveling for my graduation, and my mom was with me in the hotel room, and I was trying to record it, and I had to upload it by midnight, and I had to keep re-recording it because my mom kept falling asleep. It was late at night, and she kept snoring. So in this case, it's not my mom. Alright, so what's the question here? What is the difference between the two temperatures? And I apologize for the snoring if you hear that. Okay, so let's try to solve this. So this is a positive, and this is a negative. And so we want to write this, we're trying to find the difference, so we need to subtract these two, right? So we can rewrite this based on what we just learned. 134 degrees Fahrenheit plus 80 degrees Fahrenheit, because we have these two negatives, they make a positive. And this becomes 214 degrees Fahrenheit. And that's the difference in those temperatures. That's a huge difference between what the temperature is in Death Valley and this place in Alaska. Crazy, huh? Alright, let's look at another problem. I want you to tell me whether the equation x plus x in absolute terms is equal to 0. Tell me if this is always, and I get happy with those. There we go. Always, sometimes, or never true. And why? Alright, so we have to choose whether it's always, sometimes, or never. So let's do a test, actually. Let's take some negative numbers, and let's take 0, and let's take some positive number. Okay, so let's start with just easy numbers. Let's do minus 1 as x, so x is equal to 1. Minus 1 plus the absolute value of minus 1. Well, this is minus 1 plus 1, which is equal to 0. So that works. So we know now that this is not the answer. It cannot be never. It has to be either always or sometimes, because we found one case where it's true. Alright, let's do x is equal to 0. 0 plus absolute of 0 is that equal to 0. So we get 0 plus 0, that is 0. So we still know that it's always or sometimes. We don't know what yet. Let's do one more case. Let's do positive numbers. Let's do x equal to 1. Let's do 1 plus, the absolute value of 1. Is that equal to 0? So let's do 1 plus 1, that equals 2. That does not equal to 0. So we found that the answer is sometimes. Alright, this was MultiPro. I really enjoyed this lesson of adding and subtracting rational numbers with you. I hope that you subscribe and that you click like on the video and comment if there's any questions you might have that I can help you with. I will see you next time.